So a great way to comp on your left hand while improvising on the right hand is to use really simple two-note voicings. And in this video, I'll show you a couple of techniques on how to build these two-note voicings and give you a 4-step exercise to practice in all keys for all chord types. All right, so what's the benefit of using two-note voicings? Well, you'll make your left hand's comping easier to play. This is a great technique to use on up-tempo tunes with lots of chords like bebop tunes, blues, and so on. There are two types of two-note voicings: the ones that include the root of the chord and the ones that are rootless. The two-note voicings that include the root are more effective for solo piano or when there's no bass player. Conveying a chord's identity or color with only two notes is easy if you know which notes are the ones that offer these basic colors. Let's say I have a C minor 7 chord. This is a 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7 chord. And let's also take a look at C7 and C major 7. The C7's chord tones are 1, 3, 5, and flat 7. And the C major 7 is 1, 3, 5, 7. So which of these notes hold the essence of each chord? If you look at them carefully, you can see that we only need to know the 3 and the 7 to discern between them. The minor 7 is a flat 3, flat 7 chord. The dominant 7 is a 3, flat 7. And the major 7 is a 3 with a major 7. These two notes are known as the guide tones. So one might think that the root should be essential, because to hear the third or the seventh as being major or minor, we need that root note. That's why we should know two types of two-note voicings: the rooted ones when we play solo piano, and the rootless ones for when we're playing with a bass player. So by just playing the guide tones, we can convey the chord's type, the chord's essence. To play C major 7, we just play E and B. C minor 7 is E flat and B flat, and C7 is E and B flat. And an important property of these two-note voicings is that they all have two inversions. So C major 7 could be E and B, or B with an E on top. C minor 7 is E flat with B flat on top, or B flat with E flat on top. And C7 is either E with B flat or B flat with an E. This is going to become really handy when we try to create nice voice leading in a chord progression. I know what you're probably thinking right now. What about minor 7 flat 5 chords, augmented chords, or diminished chords? Don't they have an altered fifth? We're going to need that altered fifth to convey those chord types, won't we? Well, yes and no. Let me explain. For a C minor 7 flat 5 chord, we can just play the guide tones B flat and B flat and let the right hand fill in the blanks by providing the flat 5 in the lines that the right hand's playing. The E flat and the B flat are more ambiguous in this case. But as I'll show you later, the functionality of the minor 7 flat 5, which is probably a related 2, will still be conveyed when we start using voice leading to move from the next chord in the progression. And augmented dominant chords work exactly the same. Augmented dominants are better represented by two guide tones, the 3 and the flat 7. Finally, we have diminished 7 chords. These are quite interesting because in a diminished 7, any note could be the root. C diminished 7 could be seen as an E flat diminished 7, or a G flat diminished 7, or an A diminished 7. And so any note could be seen as the 3rd, the 5th, or the 7th of the chord. So any note could be a root, or a guide tone, or an altered fifth. This gives us quite a few options for two-note voicings. The easiest way to look at these is to realize that we can play tritones or minor thirds. So for a C diminished 7, we can play any of these voicings. But again, any of the two tritones here are the best option for voice leading. One more thing before we start practicing. All of these two-note rootless voicings are either thirds, fourths, or fifths. That's it. And when we play these intervals on the left hand, we need to consider the low interval limit. You don't want these voicings to sound muddy, so try to avoid playing any of these notes below this bass C here. And by the way, we have an entire course on 4-note rootless voicings that you should check out because we explain so many of these concepts in greater detail. We'll teach you how to build 4-note rootless voicings and give you workouts in every key. So if you're interested in this topic, make sure to check out our 4-note rootless voicings course on mdex.com. All right, enough theory. Let's get into today's exercise. Let's work on rootless 2-note voicings first, and in the next video, I'll give you a similar exercise to practice rooted 2-note voicings. In step 1, I want you to play all dominant chords around the circle of fifths. Remember, we're playing the 3 and the flat 7, or the inversion, flat 7 and 3. So these are going to be tritones. I want you to practice these because no matter where you start, the next voicing is going to be a half step below the previous one. C7 to F7 is either this or this. So we're moving chromatically down when we play dominant chords around the circle of fifths. By the way, this is known as an extended dominant sequence. An obvious problem with that dominant sequence is that by constantly descending chromatically down, we eventually hit the low interval limit, and we need to reset the range by breaking the voice leading. And this is true for almost 90% of all well-formed chord progressions. So be aware of that. When you start getting lower in the range, start to consider breaking the voice leading and resetting the voicings to a higher range. Step 2, now let's play consecutive 2/5s. These 2-note minor 7 chord voicings are always a perfect fifth or a perfect fourth. And the related 5 is the closest tritone descending. We just need to move one of the notes down to turn the 5th or the 4th into a tritone. Pretty simple. Step 3, let's do a 2-5-1 sequence. Now the tritone voicing turns back into a perfect fourth or a fifth, and it'll match the interval you used on the 2 chord, just a half step down. Step 4, let's turn the major 7 in step 3 into a 6 chord. So we play D minor 7 to G7 to C major 7 to C6 like this. This is a great intermediary step to learn the voice leading for a 2-5-1-6 progression. We're just turning the 5th of the major 7 chord into a 4th, or the 4th into a 5th. Notice how all these voice leading movements are always descending. As I said before, well-formed harmonic progressions tend to create descending movement in the voice leading. Step 5, let's play a 2-5 that lands on a major 6 chord directly. Now the 2 notes of the tritone move down. Step 6, let's add a bebop line on the right hand like this. Step 7, we're going to play the Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13 line that we showed you in our tutorial for that scale over a 2 minor 7 flat 5, 5 7 flat 9, and then a 1 minor 6 chord at the end. The cool thing is that we don't have to change the voicings we used in the major 2-5. The only new voicing that we need to learn is the one of the 1 minor 6 chord. 2-note voicings for minor 6 chords take some time to get used to because the guide tones in a minor 6 chord are the flat 3 and the 6th, which create a tritone. A C minor 6 2-note voicing is E flat A or A and E flat. And out of context, this is a hard sound to swallow. It doesn't sound like minor chords at all. But if I add some context, you'll hear how good it sounds. The voice leading is pretty simple. Just move the tritone you're playing on your 5 chord a whole step down. So in step 7, we're going to play this. Thanks for joining us again today. All of our members will receive a PDF to help you practice today's concepts. If you're not a member yet and you'd like to become one, go ahead and click on the join button down below or the link provided. And for access to all of our previous membership content, go ahead and check out our music theory journal on mdex.com. As always, we encourage you to leave a comment down below and share us with your friends. It really helps us make more content like this. And like this, YouTube seems to think you're going to like one of those two videos. So check that out also. We'll catch you next time.